We're on the table, and we're angled up. Hello everybody, welcome back to the table. I said that a lot recently, mainly because I think it's polite to welcome you to the table, being British and all. And we're looking at, yet again, another camcorder. Although I do think this is the last one I've got where I actually have footage pre-recorded in relation to tropical birdland. So every camcorder from this point on is freshly recorded. Although, to be fair, the last two ones that went out were also freshly recorded. Woo! But yes, today we are looking at a JCV that comes in this beautiful hard case. This very dusty but beautiful hard case. Because today we're looking at the JCV GR-C7E, I think this one's designation is. And it's one of the last JCVs I'm aware of that came in a particularly nice hard case like this. The C2 came in a hard case like this. That's one to do later on. That one's actually on the list to go to TBL. The C7 did, and I believe some other ones did. Panasonic also put their M series in hard cases like this. But this is not a Panasonic M series. So we're just going to go through everything that's in the box. But first off, we've got a lovely little compartment here, which has the carrying strap, very important. A tape that I've just realised I need to pull the video footage from. The DC cable, which I keep in here for good measure. And a couple more tapes, which I didn't realise were in here. So all that video footage needs to be pulled off today. So they can go over there. But that's what's in there. Just a nice little carrying front for spare tapes and stuff. Ooh. Now, the magic. We push the button and up comes the case to reveal more stuff. First off, here's one of the batteries. As you know, these are the standard. This is an actual JCV battery. Ironically, this one, 700 mAh, bloody hell. This one actually came from the GR-C2, which I have upstairs. But I tested it and it ran for 30 minutes the first time and just has not charged properly since. We will once again be using the stand-in battery pack. As you can see, it's just a pair of metal prongs. So won't be using that, but that's fine. Put that over there. Now, there's quite a lot of stuff in this case, and I am sort of rearranging my camera equipment, so not everything's going to be stored on the inside. You've got your standard aerial transfer cables. We've got a spare aerial cable thing. You always have spare cables when you get these cameras. There's just a million spare cables everywhere. There's an actual aerial cable. Once again, this is just an extension one. Power charger battery block with a DC out. Plug the battery in, it charges it. JCV, guess what? It works absolutely fine. I have about 9 of these things now. We've got your TV RF box. This one actually has a postcode on it, if you can see. SG87HT. So, Mr. SG87HT, I've got your camcorder, and no, you can't have it back because I brought it. And of course, anybody from the 90s remembers what these are, especially if you had a games console. Aerial Game TV. Always useful to have, and they always have their sticky back, is it? It's still sticky. Really, I've got my 80s TV. I've always been tempted to stick one of these on the side, but I don't want to risk tearing off the side. Which it might do. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's actually have a look at the camera. Just going to quickly bring that out. We'll get rid of the box, and we can probably angle the screen, the camera a little further down. There we go. Oh, wait, no, not that way. And here we are. It is the JCV GR-C7. No instruction manual on this one, unfortunately. I have seen this camera in various guises under different companies' branding, but obviously we're looking at the JCV version, the original. This is a CCD camera, and not a tube one if I recall. And yeah, it's got an autofocus. It's a very blocky and bulky thing with a viewfinder. Oof. Which has your standard JCV plug-up, so any viewfinder from JCV can technically be connected to this and use. For example, the Ferguson F25 should be able to plug in and use, but the original viewfinder works fine, or it did last time I had it out. Now, I haven't had this camera out since, February, which is when I went to tropical birdland. So the footage, there you go, GR-C7E, I'm not talking rubbish. So the footage is a little out of date, and I'm a little rusty with the camera, but it is one of my more used cameras. It's fairly ergodynamic. The handle is actually quite nice because it's got a nice area for you to rest the bottom of your hand in whilst you're holding it. and you can reach all the controls on the top without too many issues. Nothing catastrophic, fairly easy to use. So without further ado, let's attach a battery, which, if I recall correctly, goes this way, like so. As you can see, the memory is immediately turned on, so we're going to hit power, which should physically turn the whole thing on. So we now have a camera to work with. So let's start on this side, because, you know, we've got to start with this. We've got our rat video, so we're just going to hit eject straight away. And out comes the tape deck. Insert your rat attack, or whatever tape you're using, into the tape deck, and it will feed it through. At some point, God knows when. I haven't had this camera out for 6 months now. Really, I should go back to Tropical Birdland and do a new fresh tape with this, but I'm not going to. So on this side, we have our eject, we have our reset, and we have our memory. These are all very standard things that you find on camcorders of this time period. Reset obviously resets the time, the counter, and memory remembers a number. So if it's 74 billion, it's what it remembers. On the back here, we've got the viewfinder, which you can vaguely see through, so it does work. I've got the lens cap off. We'll take that off in a minute. We've got this button. I think that's the battery release. Yes, that is the battery release. Yes, I did just take the battery off. That didn't sound healthy, but that's fine. There we go. Now I've actually turned the damn thing on. You've got your start and stop record button, which of course doesn't work until you activate the recording function, something that was removed in later cameras, but when I got the C2, I had to legitimately read the instruction manual to figure out how to make recordings happen. You've also got your forwards and your backwards on the zoom. I don't remember if they work on this camera. I really don't. We'll find out. On this side, there's very little. They've got the strap handle, video movie, little vents, tracking. Not much going on here. We get to the front and we've got the viewfinder, which will actually take off the cap now. So there's your lens. You've got your white balance and your autofocus. Or that might be your white balance and that might be your autofocus. But, you know, plus a microphone stuck at the bottom. What are you going to do? And then we get to the interesting bit, because all the buttons are at the front here, as you can see, and there's all these standard buttons you'd expect to find. Short play and long play. How do you want the tape to record? I normally run in short play to get the best quality at this point, because these cameras and their tapes are not expensive. Headphones, remote, because remotes used to work on a 3.5mm jack rather than anything else. AV, that's your audio. That's for record tape. Let me get this right. That's for playing back onto a television through an AV signal. That's what that's for. AV, you know, being one of these, more or less, even though that's actually aerial. But you know, I'm terrible at this. And then we've got our stop, forward, rewind, pause, play, monitor, don't know what that does, and record. So all the standard buttons. I have to think about that. So we're just going to rewind the tape. We can hear it going. Now, the motor is actually pretty efficient on this one, so if I were to hit fast forward, pretty efficient, he says, but, you know, the counter's going up, and you can see this going. It sounds better than it actually is, but, hey, it works. So we'll just rewind that to the beginning, as you do. There we go. Stop. We're going to reset, so that's back to 0, so we know 0 is the beginning. Going to push monitor. Don't know what it does, don't really care. We're now going to hit play. Obviously, and there we go. It's playing. Is it coming through the viewfinder? Why, yes. There is. There you go. There's part of the table that was recorded in a previous YouTube video. Delicious. Now, I mentioned that you obviously said you can't do anything until you hit the record button. This is where you hit the record button. So we're going to stop it. We're going to hit record, and then it pauses it. Yep, and the record. So this is now in effect ready to record. Now you can either push the pause and unpause button, which will set the recording going, except it won't. I don't know why. It should, but it doesn't. Or you can hit the record button here, which does fully set the recording going. Can you actually stop it through there? No, the pause button doesn't actually do anything. So now we're recording. It looks like there's a battery warning in that top left-hand corner, which makes sense because this is the battery. Yep, it's the same battery in the viewfinder. This is the battery that I used for the FC25 and it has not been charged, so that's not smart on my end. But that's more or less a run over of the camera, all the buttons, the rough functions. Oh, we got these bits here, you know, focus, auto, manual, indoor and outdoor, full auto, which is run with your photo, your fader, and your BLC, which is your background light color or something like that, which I learned by reading the instruction manual of a different camcorder. Forgot that, and of course you've got your manual focus if you want to, but I hate the noise it makes, so I don't use manual focus. Now, there is a button on the top which is quick review. Don't know what quick review does. Don't really care, if I'm totally honest with you. The only other thing I'm going to do very quickly is see if the zoom and non-zoom work by pushing the button. It does not look like they currently work. Yep, it would appear that the zoom functions on this camera do not work. I said it's been a while since I've taken this one out, so I don't remember, which is unfortunate, which means that any zooming that will have been done manually, basically. So there probably won't be that much zooming. But yes, oh, I do like the way that the viewfinder turns around as well. You can be like, ha 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 ha, you're spying on yourself. But yes, there is the JVC GR-C7. But of course, what does this camera footage look like? Now, I said I filmed this back in February, so the light is a bit weird on it. But hey-ho, how's about we don't waste any more time and we just go ahead and look at the video footage. Oh, somebody else wants one. Wait. Hello. Hi. Would you like a nut? Go on. Okay. So it's gone away now. No, not. Hello again. Go on then, buddy. There you go, you better take my last one. You two have robbed me of literally all of my nuts. Annoying. Well then, that was a nice trip. Not as long as the FC25. I really went overboard with that one, but I really enjoyed that camera. The JVC GR-C7E. Interesting camera. I didn't mention, I believe this one came out in 1986. Might have been 84 or 86. But overall, not a bad camera. Not the best you'll ever handle. It's quite large and chunky still, but that's to be expected in the earlier stages of cameras as they were bringing them down from shoulder mounted to handheld. It's, as I said, it's quite chunky, but it's not god-awful. More than handleable. The buttons are fairly easy to understand. You don't have to press record and play at the same time, which is what you had to do on the C2, which is what took me so long to figure out. And that's how you also record on like tape decks. You just have to push a record button. And it's all fairly self-explanatory. I picked this camera up and just used it without really pissing around with anything, which is always a nice thing to have when you're dealing with old cameras. It does also have a shoulder strap, which is something I forgot to bring up, which I'm going to quickly demonstrate. So to get your strap in place, you take this bit and you place it there on the top and pull this base out here. So you want to pull this out and clip it in, so now that's fully secure. And then on the bottom, you plug this in there. There's a method to do it. There we go. You take that bit, and there's a little notch in there, and you kind of slip it in there like that, and then secure it in like so. And then that's fully secure with a strap that ain't going anywhere in a hurry. This bit always worried me with the way it sort of goes like that, but it's very secure. So there is that. I forgot to bring that up earlier, but that's on now. So yeah. The GR-C7E. It's got its problems. I said the zoom doesn't work on this particular model. It was cold, so you could see there was some bluing on the bottom of the screen from time to time. I don't know if that was condensation or just because the light was screwed up. It's old. It's got its problems. It's not the best camera I've ever used, but personally, for the time period, 84, 86, I honestly can't remember. It might be 86. It's quite a solid camera, and for one of the first attempts by JCV to run a handheld camera rather than a shoulder-mounted camera, pretty happy with it, couldn't fault it. Now these are fairly cheap still compared to the C1, which is quite an expensive camera. This one cost me £35, I think, from an online charity shop, eBay, but charity shop selling on eBay. So not expensive cameras to get started with. The tape format is easy to get a hold of course, because it's VHS Type-C, and the batteries, as I brought up before, are quite cheap and easy to get a hold of because JCV used them for years. So, yeah. And, of course, it comes with a nice carry case as well, so you ain't got to worry about, you know, a bag, although having a shoulder-mounted bag to take it with you to places is preferably variably preferable. One thing for certain to check with these when you do get them is that these straps and connections and plastics haven't disintegrated, though that's more common with the C2s than the C7s, but I'll tell you that story when we get to the C2, which might be the camera that goes to Tropical Birdland next. But yes, at the end of the day, decent camcorder. You know, if you want to work around, play around with JCV early camcorders, definitely a good one. I'm going to throw a bit of extra footage in, I think, of this camera where I've used it elsewhere. Maybe. Depends on how long the video is when I go into editing. But yes, if you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Did you own one of these? Did your parents use one of these? You know, did you throw it down in front of a lorry and watch the lorry screech to a halt because running over JCV technology is completely illegal in your country? Who knows? Never happened to me, but might have happened to you. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week when we're looking at a camcorder or something different that isn't a camcorder. See you next week.
Even though the tongue did kind of not help you out. Okay? There you go. We're going to get it over? Can't really get it over. Looking good? Looking good? Hello.
Put that claw down.
Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth.
Here we go.
That's it.
That is good. That's good.
Good. I do, Three up over here.
We're pretty much at the end of vacation now. There's one more dance tonight. I don't think I'll be doing any more filming on this thing. This has been an interesting experience. vacation. I'll see you around. Can I delete this? There you go. Let's just have a quick look at this shelf because hey, it's a shelf.